What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Monday, November 14th, 2022. We are back, a new week, a new money, and we'll get after it in just a little bit. We got a big night of college basketball. I'm going to get into all the matchups. We also have some very interesting Monday Night Football tonight in South Philadelphia. The undefeated Eagles taking on the NFC East foes, the Washington Commanders. I'm going to get into that a little bit later as well. You know what we do here? We talk gambling, we talk hoops, we talk about college football. But I want to talk about the weekend just a little bit. And I know people want to hear about it from me. I made sure that I didn't really talk too publicly about this after what happened. I know I said some things after the fact. And look, let's just get right into it. I first just want to quickly say the Invitational was awesome. I had a great time. It was a dope game, two dope games. It was cool hanging out with the Toledo players and meeting all the coaches and really meeting people and all the stoolies and all the fans. It was great. I thought it was really well done, and I enjoyed it. That being said, I gave away any good fortune I had Friday night with a disastrous post on Twitter. Look, I'll admit, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I have impulse control occasionally, impulse control issues occasionally. I made a bet, one that I would make regardless, but that wasn't the problem. The bet was something I should not have posted. And looking back on it, I shouldn't have tweeted it. I shouldn't have doubled down. As many of you know, sometimes when you tweet, you do things that you're not proud of. And again, even 13 years into having Twitter, I'm still making stupid mistakes. That said, I'm here today, and I've made my amends on it. Hopefully it's enough for you, but I'm going to double down even further with what I'm going to do to accept the punishment. Listen, I want to make this clear. That tweet was not in any way to disparage anybody. Obviously, I don't think this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it. Any human being that gets into a cage and fights another human being is 17,000 times more tougher than any of us will ever be. I've bet on Molly before. I bet on Patty before. I bet on most of these fighters before. Again, I should not have posted the ticket. It was my bad, and it was a gaffe that I make that I take responsibility for. I will not hide. I am here. I am someone that does a show every day, every weekday, and I'm here. And I'm going to talk about what I do best here in just a second. However, here's something I'm going to propose. And I've thought about this for really this whole day. And I thought, well, I'm a man, and I have to take a punishment here. Obviously, Dave may or may not like this idea. He still may say, go fuck yourself. He may say, whatever. And that's up to him. But I'm going to try to make amends with this for the stoolies and for the company. And as a man, I'll take the punishment. Here's what I'm going to persuade them to allow me to do. Whether it's at Rough and Rowdy, whether it is at Cyber Monday, whether it is me traveling to Liverpool, England directly, I will do it. And I will, on camera, take not one, but I'm willing to take two Robbie Fox leg kicks from Molly Meatball. I think it's fair. I'm willing to take my punishment like a man. It won't feel good. It will hurt. It'll potentially cause injury to me. But I'm willing to take the punishment because that's what I'm going to do. We can film it. I'll sign a waiver, and we can have fun from it. And people can watch dumb fuck Nadu for a night take some kicks from a UFC star to the legs. Whether or not that's accepted, I don't know, but I'm willing to do it. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what's decided. I know there are probably going to be people here that'll, talk negatively. I don't care. I'm going to take whatever punishment I need. So if we can get that clipped and get that in front of the powers that be, I would very much like that. So maybe we can have that happen and we can get a minute-to-minute reaction from it. I'm willing to do it. And listen, here's what I'll also say. I don't want it to be two leg kicks. I'm willing to do leg kick. I will just take one. If that's the allotted punishment, I'll take one, Robbie Fox style. But if they feel that I should take two, I'll take two. I will sign the waiver, and I will, just like I did at Rough and Rowdy, that if anything happens to me, I'm liable. It won't feel good. It will not be pleasant, and it will be something that I'm not really looking forward to. But I will do it. So that's my proposal. Whether or not, whether or not we accept it, then so be it. But that's my proposal. I'm just trying to have fun with it at this point. Obviously I did something stupid. I don't regret making the bet. I'm a gambler. That's what I do. But I regret posting it, and I shouldn't have done that as an employee. I shouldn't have done it. So I'm gonna do what I have to do. So that's what we do here. So, all right, guys. Here's what I need from you. I want to talk college hoops. So we're going to talk college hoops today. That's what I do best. And I know some of you saw what I did last night again with Mississippi Valley State, basically calling the final score. So that was cool. That was dope. I could still do that. Let's just say that. But I want to talk about this card tonight, and we'll get to Eagles Commanders in a little bit. But I want you to put in the chat the games you want me to talk about. I'm pretty much going to hit a lot of them, though. So I think we'll kind of get that taken care of. It was an interesting weekend in college basketball. Obviously, we had a fucking great game Friday night between Toledo and UAB. I'll continue to say it, man. Toledo is a very good basketball team, and so is UAB. That said, that second half from Toledo was something. Okay. They were incredible across the board. Shout out to everybody. Ray J. Dennis, Cedric Milner, Shoemate, Dante Maddox, Raheem Moss. I mean, everybody was terrific for Todd Kowalczyk. And I won't say it, but maybe I was in the locker room after and before the game. Maybe I bled off on them a little bit. I don't know. I'm not going to take credit, but I will take credit. The second game, I'm going to tell you right now, I was very impressed with Mississippi State. I had them as one of the worst teams in the SEC. I just did on paper. It's not to say I don't like Chris Jans. I love what he did at New Mexico State. I like Tolu Smith a lot. I think he's a pro. I like DJ Jeffries a lot. I just didn't know how the other pieces would fit. It looks like Chris Jans is going to have a really tough basketball team down in Starkville. I don't take much away from Akron. I still think they're really good. They're going to be a top MAC team. And I obviously mentioned how good I think Jelly and UAB are. I think it was just a really great group of games. That said, we had other things go on Friday night and over the weekend. Michigan escaped. It wasn't easy, but that's the kind of game Hunter Dickinson needs to have, and he knows he can have against that type of competition in Imani Bates. He was incredible over the weekend, and shout out to Michigan for beating a very tough, little scrappy EMU team. Interesting game between Gonzaga and Michigan State Friday as well. And how about Temple, the Owls, knock off Villanova? How does that fucking taste, Villanova? Nice to kick you guys in the mouth once in a while. Temple, shout out T for Temple U. Fight, fight, fight for the cherry and the white. For the cherry and the white. Well, fight, fight, fight. How about that? TU, baby, winner. They beat Villanova Friday night, which was lost in the hubbub of the terrific Barstool Invitational. Let's see what some of the chat are saying, and then we're going to get into this card. What do we have here? Let's bring some comment. Joe, are you there? Bring some comments up here. What are people thinking about this little idea I have? Are you there? Can you join right now? Maybe not. Okay, there we go. Hell of a company man. Well, listen, I wasn't necessarily a company man Saturday night, but again, I'm willing to take my punishment. Noah Ann says, no, Nadu is a creep show. Listen, Noah, just because I steal your fucking girl every time you have one doesn't make me a creep. It makes you a fucking creep because you can't keep her, motherfucker. Thanks for being here, though. Content from this. Yes, content is king, and I'm willing to do it. I'll ride with you anywhere, says GMC. Broken tibia incoming. Possibly. I do have strong legs. I am proud of them. If you see my calves, you know that. Zach Soretis is man of honor. Always. I will not run and hide. I'm going to face the music. I'm here on the airwaves, taking my lumps here. Don't listen to these fools. Nadu crew. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. That leg getting broken, no doubt, says Samuel Benton. I guess we'll see. Woo Kenny Woo says Molly Nadu next rough and rowdy. I considered a 30-second in the octagon with Molly, but I felt like the leg kicks were easier. I don't want her to have to worry about me too much. Not that she would worry about me. I mean, in the sense of, I want this to be easy. She can just give me a fucking kick straight to the fucking leg. I think she'll get some satisfaction out of that. Not that she even cares about me, which I don't think she does, but I want to do what I have to do here. Tank 28 says, let her break your arm. Well, I have broken my arm before. It wasn't pleasant. I don't know if I don't think we have to go that far. Tucker Kallenbeck's is nice call. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Tyler Smith says, you're a gambler. You won. I did win. However, I shouldn't have posted it. All right. Let's get into some games here. Keep abreast, Joe. Is anyone from the brass of Barstool saying anything on this? I'm sure they aren't, but
not that I've seen in the chat. Okay. But I'll check Twitter, see what we have.
Yeah, we need to know what's going on. But that said, it might just be not right away. We'll see. All right, let's get into the card today. I want to start with a play that I threw out on Twitter. Kent State minus 4.5, and I know it's up to 5.5 against Portland. The big question is, why is this number going up? And the questions that I had on this game were twofold. Why is this number going up? And B, who's playing for Kent State? Because there's some real stark advantages for hometown Kent State in this game. First of which, I'm very high on Kent State. They were one of the better MAC teams last year. They're going to be one of the better MAC teams this year. It's Toledo, it's Kent, it's Akron. Those are the top level teams in the MAC to me this season. Now, we look at Portland. Nice start under Shante Leggins. They've scored a lot of points, but they're off an 80-plus possession game over the weekend. Now you got to go across the country to Ohio. Not an easy thing to do if you're Portland, right? You got to fly commercial. It's not easy to do. But I have some questions about the personnel. And I think one of the reasons this line's moved up is we may get some good information on Malik Jacobs and Hornbeak, two players for Kent. Malik Jacobs is very important for Kent State in this game, and I'll tell you why. He's their best defender. He's a dogged defender in the perimeter that I think can handle the guards that Portland's going to throw out there. They need him. They don't have to have him, but they need him. And it would be a big help if he were in the lineup because he can give you 6 to 12 points and he can give you the best defense this team has to offer. The truth of the matter on the court, though, is Kent State is just way better at the guard position than Portland. I don't rate Portland's guards. I don't really rate Portland at all to this level of competition. Kent is a really good team that can make the NCAA tournament. Portland is a WCC team that's going to get blown the fuck out by good teams in this conference, and they're going to struggle with going up in stature. I don't think Portland's guards are very good. When I look at Kent's guards, Kent has two of the best guards in this league, in Sincere Carey, who might be the best guard in this league, and Giovanni Santiago, the Puerto Rican kid. Terrific shooter. This team was totally different when Santiago came into the lineup last year. It's one of the reasons they were one of the best teams in the MAC towards the end of the season. I think this line makes sense. I actually put this line a little bit higher. I kind of had this game at like 82-73. I think Kent State is the better basketball team here. I think the home atmosphere is helpful. And again, I think the superior guard play is just important. We have to mention that in this game. It's just that simple. A lot of people will mention Chris Austin's out for Portland. Doesn't mean anything to me here. Chris Austin hasn't played this year, and he likely wasn't going to play this year. I don't know why like Rothstein and people are running with that because they're trying to, I think, affect the market, and this isn't affecting the market. This doesn't matter in the market because Chris Austin wasn't going to play for Portland. He hasn't played, and he's not going to play. So I don't know why that was thrown out there like that's big news or something. So let's go with Kent. I like Kent here. I just do. I think they're a very good basketball team, and I think they're just better than Portland. Couple of comments here. Sharps look like Nadu. They don't look like so-and-so or the producer. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're talking about. You're taking shots at my producer. That's not nice. Joe's a friend, and you're not going to do that. Why does Nadu look like the producer and the producer looks like the talent?
A lot of love for the chat for me today. I appreciate that.
Yes, because talent is generally looks like you. Attractive, look like Matt Damon, that sort of
thing. Go off, King. Go off.
Fat fucks like me usually aren't the talent. That's actually pretty funny. Any thoughts on DePaul, Minnesota? Line is DePaul minus 1.5. Yeah, this number didn't make sense to me. I don't understand this one. I think Minnesota is a significantly better team. And I know one thing about DePaul. Last year when they didn't have David Jones or Javon Freeman Liberty, they were fucking horrible. The thing about DePaul I always notice is they always play well in the non-conference, then get fucking boat raced in conference play. So that could be a reason. They still have a lot of pieces to Tony Stubblefield has a lot of things to figure out here. But the problem with Minnesota is you don't have Jamison Battle tonight. So that takes a little bit of the luster off that game to me personally, Sam Nevins, and I would kind of just avoid it in that term. However, I think Minnesota, if I had to play it, I would play. Houston and Oral Roberts. This is an interesting one because Houston has boat raced both opponents they've played so far, right? St. Joe's, Northern Colorado. But what I found in Friday night's game against St. Joe's that was so impressive was that Houston scored 81 points and they shot 5 for 26 from 3. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff there. You should not score 81 points and only have 5 threes in 26 attempts. That's crazy. What that means is they were incredibly efficient in the half court and in transition. That's probably likely going to be what they get again today. The truth of the matter is Oral Roberts better than NoCo and St. Joe's? Yes. And they have a star in Max Asmus. But the problem that Oral Roberts has here is they can't defend fucking anybody. And that's the issue here. They can't rebound, they can't defend, and they are not going to stop Houston in this game. When I looked at 20, I guess my first thought was, that seemed a little high to me, but it also wouldn't surprise me if this game is 83-60. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Houston can run away because, remember, at home, this team owns it as far as average scoring margin. They blow teams out in this building. And they're so good on defense that it's hard to even score, let alone put possessions together, do anything of worth. So it's very difficult if you're playing Houston because they're so good on the offensive end and they're so elite on the defensive end. And they rebound and they hit everything hard on the glass and they make their free throws and their guard plays good and they have good bigs and they leap out of the fucking building and they're at home and their culture kills it. It's just a brutal spot. If I'm playing this, I would look towards a Houston team total to me. I know one thing. I don't believe Oral Roberts has any ability to stop Houston in this game. I will credit Houston for taking this game, and I'll credit Oral Roberts for doing this as well. This is not an easy thing to do in the non-conference, but it's very hard to do if you're Oral Roberts. So give them credit for doing this and playing this game. This will strengthen them as the season goes on. A sharp syndicate moved on DePaul. I did see that. That doesn't surprise me. I'm not sure that I'm ready to do it. But I will say there were a couple of plays over the weekend that I was just dead wrong on, right? I was like really disappointed that that Montana didn't show up. What was that the other week? That was the rough one for me. The EKU WKU total that I had bet at 150, it closed 158. It didn't get anywhere near the total. Definitely surprising. I was disappointed in Washington State's effort. I thought they were just a better team than Boise. So you're going to take some lumps early on, but you know what? You come in, you do what you do, and then you follow it up with something like Mississippi Valley State, continuing to fade them. They're on the card tonight. They get Eastern Washington. This is a different Eastern Washington team. Would I bet Mississippi Valley State here? No. I'm just taking the night off. It's not exactly the spot I want to play against Mississippi Valley State in. But if you want to, I wouldn't talk you out of it. It's just that simple. Florida and Florida Atlantic. I'm going to tell you guys something. I really like this Florida team. I looked at this number at 12.5, 13 when it came out, and I said, you know what? That just comes across 82-65 to me. And there's a couple things that I've noticed about Florida early on. I talked before the season how much I liked Florida, okay? I think they're going to score. And I think defensively with the guards they have now, they're deep. I just think they're a lot better. The coaching's just better. Golden is a great coach compared to Mike White, who's a complete clown and can't coach anybody. Another thing I'm noticing about Florida is, yes, Colin Castleton has been unstoppable, and they've scored a ton of points. But you know why they're scoring so many points? It's not just Castleton or Kyle Lofton. It's the fact that they're knocking down the three ball. You look at last season for Florida, 30% as a cumulative on the season, 30%. Not only through 2 games, albeit, but they're shooting almost 40%. If that continues, Florida is going to be a very tough team to beat. Now, this game is interesting because while Florida Atlantic has a 4-guard lineup and they're going to throw a big Russian kid in the middle, this kid, Vladislav Golden, I don't think he has any ability to stop Colin Castleton. Colin Castleton is just crafty. He's more athletic. He's crafty. He's just a better player. I think he's going to take the lunch of this Russian kid and just school him all day. That's what kids like Hunter Dickinson and Colin Castleton do. They just overpower these kind of kids and are just a lot more rangy and just better athletically than those kids are. I think this is a tough game for FAU. The only thing that I wonder about is Florida has a game on deck against Florida State, which is a big one. But again, like I said, this game to me screamed 82-65. I thought this line might be just even a little higher. I'm pretty happy with where it is. I would lay the 12.5 for Florida. I really would. I think this is a good spot for this group. They've been very good in the first two games so far. You look at both games, 1.17 points per possession, 1.16 points per possession. So both games, very efficient, good defensively for the most part. Didn't play well against Kennesaw State, but this should be a nice bounce back against a team they should have some good success against. What do we have here? Crusader says Baylor minus 28.5. Yeah, I'm going to get to that game. I have some thoughts on it. Brandon Newhart says, what about Oral Roberts plus 19.5? It's come down a little bit, which isn't surprising. Like I said, I would only really just look to neutralize Houston in that game from a team total standpoint. They're going to score the basketball. What do you think of Maine plus 20.5 against BC? BC stinks and is 0-2 against the spread. I would check the injury report there. I know BC has several folks out, so you want to look into that one. One that I was a little surprised by, Stetson, is a 7.5-point dog to South Florida. South Florida stinks. South Florida's 0-2, lost to SEMO. You guys know what SEMO is? Southeast Missouri State. They lost to SEMO. I don't know how Brian Gregory's still there at South Florida. Not a good coach. Has not done a good job. That's not a good basketball team. Now, Stetson hasn't played since they knocked off, who was it, Florida State in day one. Haven't played since. So the fact that they beat that team we should be well past that now if you're Stetson. Seemed like a little too many to me here. Just kind of one that jumped out. A lot of people are asking me about Belmont and Lipscomb. A lot of things to keep in mind of this game. This is a totally different Belmont team. I'm not saying that's bad, but they got hit hard finally with graduation. Musinski's gone. Grayson Murphy's gone. Caleb Hollander's gone. Jacoby Wood's gone. They're all gone. The only player of note that remains there at Belmont from last year is Ben Shepherd. And Ben Shepherd is a really good player, and we'll have a big game tonight. But this is a new Belmont team. Now, stuff remains along the lines of how do they stop Lipscomb big Asana Sajula? Sajula has been there for like 7 years. He has killed Belmont in the past. 2 years ago, he dropped 29 on this team. Now, he didn't play last year. They got blown out 94-65, did Lipscomb. Let's throw in the fact, though, Belmont could not miss. They were 17 for 41 from three, and they jumped out to a 31-13 lead. And I know because I had the over in the game. Belmont couldn't miss. It was beautiful. When you have an over like that, I remember because it was like a month before Rough and Rowdy. I remember this game well because I went to a bar that night with a girl I was talking to. It's just that simple. They didn't have Asajula and they got blown out. Tonight, I think Asajula eats. They have never really had an answer for him. And I think Lipscomb's better this year. I think they just have more solid players. I like Will Pruitt. He can really shoot the basketball. And I'll tell you right now, Belmont got destroyed over the weekend by Furman. Furman just ran roughshod over them all night. Most of these games fly over the number. I don't see where either team really gets many stops here, quite frankly. I was surprised to see Belmont continuing to tick up. This is a big matchup for Lipscomb. This is a game that's in Nashville. It's a Tennessee matchup for both these groups. We obviously know that both these teams are always hype about it. I think they call this like the Boulevard Brawl or something. I don't know. I forget what they call it, but just an interesting matchup. I always seemingly look to bet this one over. And it screams, 80-76 or something. That's kind of how I thought it was. If you made me play it, I would lean Lipscomb, quite honestly. I think they have a pretty good matchup here against this Belmont defense. I don't know if Belmont has an option to stop Asajula. Asajula is a very crafty kid, full of basketball pedigree. He's very good on the block, good passing big. He'll find cutters and shooters. He's just a good player. If you can watch this game, I'd highly recommend it. It'll be a good one. So yeah, Asajj actually back. That obviously makes this one a lot different than last season. And I don't think Belmont's going to go 17 for 41 from three. The new pieces that Casey Alexander has, I think it's going to take some time to build. I would definitely lean on Lipscomb in that game. Would I lean the over? Yeah, I would. Houston will win by 30. I don't disagree with you. I could totally see that. I also wouldn't be surprised if, just because Oral Roberts, I think, is just better than the opponents they played, if they hang around and lose like 82-66 or something. I could see that. I think the side's tough for sure. Coach Paul says Nadu sucks. Well, hey, thanks for being here, though, either way. What else do we have here? Creighton, they're back tonight. And what did we see out of Creighton? They didn't shoot the ball well in game one, still won by 12. What'd they come back and do in game two? I told you what they do. They came back and absolutely fucking crushed North Dakota. North Dakota can't stop anybody. Now, again, tonight, Holy Cross can't stop anybody either. Holy Cross is a disaster on offense and defense. They've been a disaster on defense and on offense for a long time. This is one of the worst shooting teams in America over the last couple of seasons. They're just not good. And I worry here because I guess the thing I say about St. Thomas and North Dakota, I guess I could see where maybe they could score a little bit in hanging games. How's Holy Cross even going to string possessions together here? That would really be my big question. We all know how good Creighton is defensively. They're healthy, they're strong, and if they're shooting like they were the other night, they'll win this game going away. I feel like anytime Creighton plays, you always want to look at that team total over, but it's just something to keep an eye on. They continue to play very bad basketball teams to start the season. As I said, they beat North Dakota. What did they do? Put up 96 in that game, I think. I think they won by, let me get the exact number here. I forgot what they won by. 96-61. So they won by 35. Could I see that again tonight? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I think the difference here is I don't know if Holy Cross can get to 55. That's the big issue here. Good number, I think. I would have probably put this around 30, and that's where it is. Another big team. Someone asked about Baylor earlier. I think if I'm going to lay any number tonight or play any team total against a good team, top 5 team against a bad team, so let's say Baylor, it would be Baylor. I think Northern Colorado, they can't stop anybody. And that's something I talked about. Stephen Smiley's team are decent offensively, but with the way they play, they can't defend. They never defend. They got riddled last season. They're going to get riddled this season. And that's evident from Northern Colorado. Baylor is strong on every level. They have a great front court, great guard play with Flagler. That was one. Also, Northern Colorado should be dominated on the glass. So when you play Baylor in Houston, if you cannot rebound, it's going to be a long, long, long fucking night for you. And when I see Baylor, I see a team that at home always blows teams out. Remember, they're winning games on average by like 21 points a game. On average. Not per, once in a while. They're doing that on average. Crazy. IUPUI team total under has hit 2-0 this year. Yes, they're the worst team in America besides Mississippi Valley to me. Now, tonight they're playing Chicago State, who isn't much better. But this is a game where Chicago State should win by double digits. I'm never going to bet Chicago State, though. It's just not in my DNA. I'm not doing it. I was told many years ago when I was coming up, don't bet money on bad teams. And this is a really bad team. Okay. Chicago State is not much better. It's just not a situation I want to be on with here. What else do we have here? Who wins the Big East? Creighton's going to win the Big East. Daniel San 89 says, who the hell would actually listen to this guy's takes? Well, because no one in America really can do this. No one can sit here on their own and just rattle off college basketball shit on any team in America. So that's probably why people are here, Daniel, including you. So thanks. UCLA minus 20.5 against Norfolk State. Love to fade the MEAC, but Norfolk covered at Baylor. And let me tell you something as well about Robert Jones' team at Norfolk. They're always one of the better MEAC teams. That said, it's hard to cover games in a row against teams like Baylor and UCLA. I think this line's about where I would have put it, Travis. I don't really see much in the way of interest here to me. And again, to me, it's about value. Where do I put this number? I would put this number around that 16 against the 1 in the NCAA tournament, 22, 21, something around there. So I guess with 20.5, I would lean UCLA, but I don't think there's a ton of value. I think there's better spots on this card today. I love that Hofstra GW over the line I got. Would love to hear your thoughts. Listen, I would always lean when I see Hofstra games. I would play just Hofstra's overs. They're really good at guard, guys. Estrada, Dunbar, their pick and roll offense is elite. It just is. And this GW team's not very good either. But I think they have the guards that will likely run with Hofstra. So, yeah, I definitely can understand your over. In these types of games, I always kind of just center on Hofstra to score the basketball. Nick Lorenzen, what's up, my friend? Mid-Major Madness, what's going on? What do you think about Santa Clara, Utah State? A big mid-major matchup, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you got to give Herb Sendek some credit, man. You lose a lottery pick last season, and what does he do? He comes right out. He's got another great big to play well, the foreign kid that they have. I'm just a terrific player. I think he's from Austria. I might be wrong. I forget. Austria or Germany. Really good player. He's been terrific so far. That said, going to Logan, you know how difficult that is. We know how good Utah State is year after year. That's just a brutal home atmosphere to deal with if you're going in there. You're obviously taking a little bit of a step up here. It's not something I would want to bet into, quite honestly. And you look at the level of team that Santa Clara has beaten, Eastern Washington, and I think Georgia State or Georgia Southern. So you're going from mid 240s to a top 65 team here. So something to keep in mind. You look at the first two games for this kid, Brandon Poziomski. I guess he's Polish. 34 and 30. Scored 64 in 2 games. Impressive stuff. Kid from Illinois, transfer. He's looked good. We'll see how they deal with him. Nehemias Queta, long gone from Utah State. Does Villanova cover tonight? I'll tell you what, this line looked like the old Villanova teams. This is what I would put on an old Villanova team. Am I running to the window to lay 35, 36 with Villanova tonight? I'll tell you what, off a loss, I understand. It seemed a bit high, though. I said I'm not playing Delaware State. Eric Skeeter's team, is he still there at Delaware State? Bottom 10 team in America. So you could take some frustration out if you're Villanova tonight. I'll tell you this. I wouldn't be betting Delaware State. Put it that. It's Villanova or pass to me. Let me talk about Penn State Butler, because I got to tell you, I think this is one of the most interesting games of the night. I don't really take much out of what Butler did in game 1, okay, because they played UNO, New Orleans. If you know anything about Mark Schlesinger's team, they're very reliant on dribble drives. They have no front court whatsoever, and they go up and down. They're not going to stop you at all defensively, and that was evident. You look at Butler's first game, guys. Amazing. 4 for 24. How did they score, 89 points or whatever they scored? They were 80% on 2-point field goals. 80%. They were 32 for 40 from 2 against UNO. That's crazy. You don't see many better 2-point percentages than that. Now, they haven't played since then. And tonight, they're going to have a much tougher game. That said, if I played an over tonight, it would be this one. What is it? 144.5. Here's the thing. Butler is going to be a tough matchup for Penn State on one level. I like their guard play. And Manny Bates, I don't see anyone on Penn State that can stop Manny Bates. Maybe if you had John Harrar there still, but you don't. Manny Bates is a man. 6'11", 240. I don't think Penn State has an answer for Manny Bates, the NC State transfer. Now, when I look at Penn State on offense, I don't think Butler can guard them either. You look at Andrew Funk, Jalen Pickett, just the talent they have. I mean, there's Cameron Winter. All these kids are transfers that come into Penn State, and they have a really good offense themselves at Penn State. I think Penn State's a good basketball team. They're going to be a tough team all season in the Big Ten. They always have good guard play, and they're well coached. I saw past the offense for both teams here. I think both these teams get into the offenses they want to run. And again, I just don't think that Penn State has an answer for Mr. Bates down low. It's just that simple to me. And when I see these games where I think we have a pretty good pace, Butler's not going to play super slow like they used to. I think they get out and run some good offense here. And I think Penn State does the same thing. I would have put this game more towards like 147. I think this game's first to 75 wins. Then it'll find its way over the number. What else do we have here? College of Charleston money line. I'll tell you what, a lot of people to market are back in College of Charleston tonight against Richmond. Richmond has some injuries. Yeah, I would go with the line movement there for sure. I'll tell you what, smart, sharp money is on Charleston. I'm gonna tell you right now. I like Chris Mooney. He had a big lot of things he had to fix this year. They lose Jacob Gilliard. They lose Grant Golden. They lose, a lot of talent last year. So, yeah, Charleston has been very bet in the market. A lot of smart people are betting Charleston. Someone's asking about Florida. Yeah, I would definitely lead on Florida for sure. Andrew Coote says G unit can. Yeah, he's probably the only person. Three-man weave, they could do it too. There are very few people that can do it. I give them respect. Three-man weave, Greg Peterson, all those guys can do what I can do. But there ain't many of us. So, just saying. All right. What about Florida State? I'm still working through Florida State. That's such a hard thing to bet into early in the season, right? Because they so much just reload every year. And what did we see in game one? They lost. They're a team that gets better as the season goes on. And John Modica, that's the reason I don't want to play Florida State. I just don't. Do you have any reaction to DJ Wagner committing to Kentucky? Well, no, I don't have any reaction because I didn't know about it until right now. I actually let me kind of set the stage. I go out and work out around 3, then I take a shower, and then I get ready for the show. So I didn't see that. That happened about an hour ago. It's not surprising. I mean, DJ Wagner is no different than his father. He's a terrific basketball player. He's a top-level commit. It doesn't surprise me that he's going to Kentucky at all. I remember his father is one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen in person when he was at Camden High School. Just an incredible high school basketball player. Some of the best high school players I've seen in this area, Kobe Bryant, Tyreek Evans, DeJuan Wagner, just electric, incredible players. Just Maurice Rice at Roman. I mean, just crazy. I remember Rice, when he played at Roman, they played LeBron. And they were getting blown out in the fourth quarter. But Rice just went back and forth with LeBron. It was electric. It was like early 2000s. Lenny Cook. I always say Lenny Cook is one of the best high school basketball players I've ever seen. And if you don't know who Lenny Cook is, it's not surprising because not a lot of people know who Lenny Cook is. But when I tell you Lenny Cook was rated higher than LeBron, go look it up. Lenny Cook he was better than Carmelo. He was better than everybody. And one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in sports was the Lenny Cook documentary. From what I understand, it looks like someone's saying Molly Meatball has responded. Am I missing that? Joe, can you comment on that? You're muted.
I'm looking on Twitter now. I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't either. Someone's playing jokes on us. Cruel jokes here.
I'll take a look. I'll see if I find it.
I don't think she would respond, honestly. I don't, Yeah, Atlanta Pete, you're telling tall tales here. That's not true. At any rate, yeah, Lenny Cook was better than LeBron. Now, let me ask you, do you know where Lenny Cook is today? He's a nobody because Lenny Cook felt like he was better than everybody else. He didn't go to college. He jumped into the draft, didn't get drafted, and now he's a nobody. But if I told you he was better than LeBron, would you believe me? Go check out that documentary. It's incredible. Same people that did Uncut Gems did the Lenny Cook documentary. It's one of the best sports documentaries ever. Okay, let's talk a little bit about NFL. Before we do that, people ask me, what are you playing tonight? I also will mention, I play half units until Christmas, basically. I tread slow in college basketball. I like Kent State. I played that. I got 4.5. I think 5.5 is probably okay as well. I think Florida's in a good spot, a -12.5. And I like Butler Penn State over 144.5. That was a good one as well. She responded on Instagram Live. Is that true? I mean, are we? Can someone let me know what the fuck's going on here? I'm blown. I don't know what's true and what's not. That said, we shouldn't we shouldn't keep we shouldn't keep we should just wait, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Can anyone else verify that? It's cap. Get Atlanta Pete out of here. Seriously, get Atlanta Pete. Don't listen to anything this guy says. He's a fucking shit starter and he's not right on anything. Get him the fuck out of here. I hate people that lie. Yeah, give him a timeout. He deserves a little time to think about his behavior. Okay, let's talk about NFL football tonight. We'll bring Joe in here. We'll talk a little Eagles football. How'd you do in NFL yesterday? I didn't do good in that Jags game, but I'll tell you what, I followed it up personally and fucking unloaded responsibly on the Green Bay Packers. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, shutting the fucking haters up. Fuck Dallas, easy fucking winner. Fuck the Cowboys.
I went absolutely bananas yesterday. I went 8-0. It was I posted all of my picks.
Okay, Joe, listen, tell us what your Twitter is where people can find you. Joe, you're actually a pretty good handicapper. I've said that before. You have you do props and stuff.
Yeah, football is my main go-to. Let me see if I can find my plays from yesterday.
Oh, by the way, I also bet the under in the Sunday Night Football game. Which came into
my Twitter's at Joe Pops _. So I went yesterday and I posted it and retweeted it. Yesterday I went Tampa money line, Kenneth Walker III over receiving yards, Green Bay +4.5, Green Bay money line, Jacksonville, Kansas City under, Raiders Chargers, both quarterbacks to throw an incomplete or a complete pass, no. And then I did a little TD parlay, Kelsey, Barkley, Jones, +626, and then Steelers money line. All winners, 8-0. I had the day of my life yesterday, and I love the game tonight too.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
what do you so obviously we have to talk about the Eagles. They haven't played since last Thursday, not this recent Thursday, the Thursday before. Now they get Monday Night Football, basically a mini bye. They didn't cover in that game. They were 14-point favorites. So now, hypothetically, well, not hypothetically, it's true. They're back at home and 11-point favorites against Washington, which I think is a pretty good number here. Obviously, Washington has made quarterback changes. We know they're not good on the offensive line. The Eagles actually manhandled them in the first game. What, they have 8 sacks in that game?
9.
Fletcher Cox, 9. There you go. Yeah, they were incredible. They're back at home tonight. Weather's gonna be fine. Little cool, but that's it. Eagles first half. I mean, how do you not play that, right? I mean,
that's what I'm on. I'm on Eagles -6.5 in the first half. That's what I jumped on this morning. I don't even know what the line. I'm sure the line's moved probably since then because it feels like it's a gimme. What they do in second quarters is absolutely insane to teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my whole thing is when I start seeing this being talked about constantly, it's, oh no, now everybody's on it. But I will say, I know a lot of smart money's come in on the under. I think this game, and I really believe this, I think this game shakes out a lot like I thought Houston was going to shake out, where I think the Eagles probably get mid-20s, and I think Washington gets like 13. I think this is like a 28-13 type of game. I think the under looks good too.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I literally just tweeted in the beginning of the show out. I sprinkled a little money on plus 8,500 on correct score 27-13 Eagles.
No shit.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Now I have to almost play this. Holy shit. I've been good with calling on scores almost to a point.
You have been hot. I mean, to start college basketball, you were off by like 4 points within college basketball. Insane.
With 2 different games.
Right. I also I love Eagles team total first half over 13.5. To me, I feel like that line should be over 14.
Here's the problem. Let me just say this though. This is the one issue with that play. When I don't not like it, I agree with you. The Eagles never take the ball though. That's the problem. You got to hope they lose the toss and get the ball first. That way you get that, because they're always going to decline and they're going to get the ball in the second half. That's it, 13.5. I mean, you're going to get 3 or 4 possessions. So
I think tonight they'll actually get more, only because, like you said, that offensive line is horrendous for Washington. And Heineke, I think passer rating when he's under pressure is like under 40. So I think you're going to get a couple 3-and-outs, maybe an interception in the first half. I think they're going to steal 1 or 2 possessions more than they typically get in a game like tonight. And if they just got to get across the goal line twice, I mean, I think they come down. I like Jalen Hurts also to score tonight. I sprinkled a little bit on him to score and him to score 2 at plus like 650 as well. I think this is going to be a boring game, because I think that they're just going to run away and hide.
Well, I want to make this clear about that first half stuff. Eagles number 1 by over 3 points a game in the first half as far as points per game. They're scoring 20.2 points per game in the first half. Washington, second worst. They're scoring 6 points a game in the first half. Big discrepancy there.
It feels like a gimme at that point.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to make this clear. I think it's 7-1 in the first half. I think they are this year, something like that. It's crazy. I mean, as far as win-loss, that's super crazy that you're that good in the first half. I also say, I always say this, Dallas Goedert over is a very good bet. I mean, he seemingly gets into the 50s or 60s every game. He is that safety valve for Jalen Hurts over the middle. And for whatever reason, teams just don't stop Dallas Goedert. He's always, run off of these big 20-yard gains. I think the only game that it didn't come in was the game against Dallas. I threw that out live when I was at the game. Yeah, I mean, he's just super good.
He's been so consistent for them underneath. AJ Brown obviously he's going to do what he does, and he's almost guaranteed to pop over like 60, 70 yards a game right now. Devontae Smith's the one you can get some value on his receiving yards. It's just he's so hit or miss with games. He's either going 100 or he's going like 28. So I don't know. With him, I kind of steer away from, just because you just never know what you're going to get, especially in a game like tonight where Miles Sanders' yards should be a good play, because they should be up and he should be getting more touches than normal. And I would think Hurts' yards as well, because the one thing that Washington does do is they will play defense. They'll rush the quarterback, and I could see him running out of the pocket and getting 42, 43, whatever that number is, easy.
It's funny because Washington kind of reminds me a bit of Houston's defense. They give up 354 yards a game on the road, but they only give up 21 points a game on the road. So there are a lot of these bend but don't break types of teams. Now, again, this is the highest level of team you're going to play. So there's major concerns here. What we saw the first game as well, just not good. The Eagles are so fun because there are so many ways you can go with their games. First half, team totals, props with receivers, turnover props. I mean, do you just have to almost bet at this point? And Corey H is making that point. Gardner Johnson interception, Slay interception. Do you just take little shots on them now? I mean, plus 650 on a Gardner Johnson interception. What's he have already this year? 4 or 5?
I think he's got like 4 already. He had the one where he came in, he busted his arm up, came back, and then got another pick. So I think at plus 650, I think that's pretty good odds. I didn't see what the number is. I'd like to see what the number is on Heineke interceptions. I'm sure over 0.5 is probably like minus, if I had to guess, like minus like 145 or something.
Probably not good.
Yeah. But I mean, I could see him throwing even 2 tonight. 5
interceptions for Gardner Johnson this season.
Wow.
Yeah. And you're still going to you're throwing at a 650 on an interception that he gets an interception. Chris Formasano says you seem too confident.
I am.
Well, listen, but I think you should also hear the concern in my voice too, because I've said with the first half, they're throwing out that 6.5. The whole world's on that. I mean, you know that, right? It's going to lose eventually. I get a weird feeling tonight. This is 20-14 or 14-8 or some weird score. 14-10.
I could see something like that, but what I will say too is if Washington comes down and let's say they score on the first possession, they're up 7-0, then I'm immediately looking at Eagles game line and saying I'm going to get a discount on that now. Now that 11.5 is going to drop to like 7.5. I think if they go down 7-0, they still can win this game by 10 easy.
Well, it's interesting. So I wanted to comment quickly on this. Pick Central today. There was one thing I noticed and one thing I was annoyed by. Ben Mintz made a very interesting point about this game. And he made that exact point about someone's going to score first. I think it was him. I think it was him that said it. Someone's going to score first on the Eagles at some point. I get a weird feel, and I think Houston did it in the last game. Didn't they score first?
I think so. I think they're up
Now
7.
now the first half, they didn't hit the first half. I think that was the first time the Eagles didn't ever hit the first half last game, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it was tied, right? 14-14,
Mhm.
I think.
Could it actually happen 2 games in a row?
I can't imagine. They're well rested. This is just a bad matchup for Washington. The Eagles defense versus Washington's offensive line is going to be too much for them to handle. Even if, like I said, they put up 1 score early, it's going to eat them alive, and it's eventually going to come through. I think this Eagles defense is going to rip them apart. This defense is scary.
Yeah, no, I know. And that's, I think, the thing that you love about the Eagles the most right now. That being said, I'm always gonna be on Goddard over. I enjoy backing that. It's been very good over the last year or two. John Bryan says it's Devontae Smith's birthday today. Maybe a little birthday big game for him. By the way, Heineke to throw an interception, minus 225. Wow.
That's wild.
That's nuts.
That's wild.
That's nuts.
That means him to throw 2 is probably like plus like 110. Like it's almost even odds for him to throw 2 at that point.
I'm shooting at under 43.5. I think this game's like 27-13. I think the game's probably close for a little. And again, like 27-13, you win by 14. Spread's 11. I mean, it wasn't exactly a blowout spread-wise. But I think in the game, the Eagles will just do what they do. They're not going to not play. That's the thing about the Eagles. In that first game against Detroit, they went up big and just fell asleep. You can't keep doing that. I will also ask you, and this is something that from a national standpoint, a lot of people watching this show don't know this or understand this because they don't see it. We deal with this team every day. Their special teams, the Eagles, it's going to hurt them at some point.
Yeah, eventually. It's definitely going to hurt them in a close game.
And this could be the game where that, what is he, a fucking hurdler or whatever?
Yeah.
At some point, he is going to – I couldn't believe the size of that guy. I saw him on the postgame show. He's so fucking small. I don't know how he's an NFL player. He's going to do something stupid at some point. Corey H says, I love Javon Hargrave over a half a sack. That's a good one. I think you can make some money with props tonight on sacks as well. Very good point.
You definitely can tonight.
By the way, what'd you think of the Invitational? You showed up a little late, but you were there.
Yeah, no, it was great. We had good seats. We were right down center court hanging out. Got to go on the court afterward, chatted up with a couple of guys. Shout out John Rich, one of the OGs.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome.
You know John Rich, right?
Yeah. He used to do it before Barstool. He was doing a little blogging with me. We were blogging together.
Yeah.
But I will say the best moment of the entire thing was at the very end. It's a 19-point game. And the whole crowd is standing on their feet, electric over the over-under. It was fantastic. Whole crowd screaming, don't shoot. One half of the crowd screaming, do shoot. It was awesome. And that's, I think, what these Barstool events is going to be the difference maker for them talking about the lines and playing into it and the crowd being involved with it. It was awesome.
I'm just saying it. And look, I know like Saturday, like I wasn't a company guy. I know that. But I will say I fucking loved this event. I thought it was awesome. I thought
it was all over the place.
I acted as a mayor. Okay. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to as many people as I could. I just moved around all night. I sat in like 20 different seats. I really enjoyed Friday night. I thought it was awesome. I would love to do that a few times a year. It was so fun. I thought the games were fun. I enjoyed doing the intermission show. I thought that was really good. Look, guys, I know occasionally I have impulse control problems, but I really am okay at some of this stuff, whether you believe it or not. I had a good time, and I really enjoyed myself. It was cool also being involved with Toledo, and I even got to shoot. I got to shoot a layup on the. Now, again, whether you believe it or not, I actually made it. It was cool shooting on that hoop. I mean, I've been going to that stadium since I was a little kid. I thought it was really well run as well.
On the court shooting?
Say that again?
Was that your first time on the court?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I also thought I watched it after the fact. I thought the production in itself was just awesome. It seemed like it was just like a legit, it's like I was watching TV,
Yeah, I had a buddy actually text me and said the production, Barstool's production was like shockingly like top notch. Like, with Rough and Rowdy, sometimes the sound can be a little bit here and there. Like you can just tell. They said this, like this is high quality production.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go, you want to check in on some responses to Viva La Stool tweeting out my little proposal?
Yeah, let's see what we got.
All right, so let me read these. This guy says, my man's leg's going to snap like a wishbone. Jeffy F says, minimum 3-round sparring session. Okay. Jimmy Woods, he's going to quit by the end of the year. I'll do it even if I get fired. I'll still do it. Steve Kuntz, I think this is fair. At least a good gut punch.
I think what you could do is, if they team this with the telethon, it could be like 0 to 60,000. You know, you take a kick. 60 to 100,000. You take a gut punch, and then just keeps working its way up until Molly gets to punch you in the face.
This guy says, make it a
to be putting on the line. So that's easy for me to say, but
right. This guy says, make it a head kick, and I think that might work. You munchkin slime ball.
You get kicked in the head, you die.
Right. Let her kick you in your ribs and punch you in your face. I say this as a Nadu crew member. Again, guys, we have to remember, like, I don't agree. I shouldn't have posted it. Let's stop acting like I should be decapitated over this, though. I mean, I don't know if my arm should be cut off with a fucking dull butter knife, Like, I'm just trying to have fun here, okay? Like, you always notice there's always someone that has to take it to, like, another level. That's not fucking good enough. You should be in a hospital for fucking 6 months because of this. It's like, relax, okay? Hang out. That said, we're going to wrap this thing up. I hope you guys all have a good evening. I hope you enjoy the basketball, and should be a good game tonight. So you're saying 27-13 Eagles.
That's what I sprinkle a little bit on 27-13 exact score. So we shall see.
I said 27-13 as well. So
yeah, so we're right there.
Might have to roll with you there. So, okay, guys, we'll be back tomorrow with another episode. We'll take a look at more college basketball. You know what we do here. We talk college hoops, whatever's going on. I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you all forgive me. Until next time, see you tomorrow, Tuesday, Big Men on Basketball. We'll see you next time.